There's a quiet, steady shift happening in the very structure of our world. It's a change that's been unfolding for decades, so it isn't sudden, not at all, but its effects, they're profound. And it all seems to be happening in the same place, right in the middle, in the center.
For a long time, it felt like there was a blueprint, right? A sense that if you just followed a certain path, you kind of knew where you'd end up. That was really the foundation of the middle class, this broad, stable core that basically powered the entire economy. But the ground under that foundation, well, it's been slowly, almost imperceptibly changing. So to really get a handle on what's happening now, we have to look back. We need to look at the economic blueprint of the 20th century, which was a world built on a very, very specific kind of work. Okay, so after World War II, a whole new kind of economy started to take shape. It was all about systems, about repeatable processes, things you could do over and over again, both on the factory floor and in the office. Millions and millions of jobs were created that were structured, predictable. And that very predictability is what built this huge, stable middle class. By the 1960s, they were the engine of the entire system. And then in the 80s, the first personal computer showed up, and they brought a whole new logic with them, the logic of automation. And at its peak, this center was just enormous. Think about it. In 1971, 61% of all adults were part of this middle-income group. It was basically the default American experience. But then, over the next few decades, that broad center started to thin out. And the reason why? Well, it all comes down to a really simple paradox of skill. So where this whole shift begins is actually pretty revealing. See, it wasn't about how hard a job was. Not really. It was about the kind of knowledge a job required. Yeah, there's this idea called tacit knowledge. Basically, it's all the stuff we know how to do without really knowing how we do it. You can't write down a set of rules for, say, recognizing a friend's face in a crowd, or how to walk through a messy room without tripping. We just do it. And this unspoken, intuitive understanding is just so fundamentally human. For the longest time, it created a huge barrier for machines. And this is where you really see the divide. Think about it. The stuff that's easy for us, common sense, perception, understanding context, that stuff is incredibly difficult for a machine. But the things that are hard for us, like performing millions of calculations without making a single mistake or sorting gigantic databases, well, that's completely trivial for a machine. And that inversion, that flip, that's the key to all of this. And that simple observation honestly explains everything. The first wave of automation, it couldn't replicate the skills of a toddler, but it could replicate the routine, rule-based tasks of, say, a bookkeeper or an assembly line worker. So automation didn't start with the hardest jobs, and it didn't start with the easiest jobs either. It started with the most codifiable jobs, the ones you could actually write down as a set of instructions. And where were those jobs? They were sitting right there, squarely in the middle. So the direct result of all this wasn't just, fewer jobs. It was a profound reshaping of the entire labor market. What happened was a sort of polarization of the job market. It's like it got pulled apart. At the very top, you had high-skill jobs that need creativity and abstract thinking. Those continued to grow. And at the bottom, service jobs that need physical skill and just plain common sense. Those grew too. But the middle, that whole space of routine, predictable work, that's what started to shrink. People started calling it the great hollowing out. Let's take a classic example, the bank teller. When ATMs first showed up, everyone predicted that tellers were done for, that they'd just disappear. But they didn't. Instead, the job completely transformed. The machine took over the boring, routine task of counting and dispensing cash. And that freed up the human teller to focus on more abstract stuff, like building relationships with customers and explaining complex financial products. The routine part got automated, the human part got redefined. So as these traditional middle-skill jobs started to get hollowed out, the very nature of what a job is began to shift. You see the decline of that stable, long-term career model, and at the exact same time, you see the rise of freelance and gig-based work. And today, that makes up over a third of the entire workforce. And this is where we hit the central tension of the whole system. The middle class, the exact same group whose jobs were most vulnerable to automation, has always been the main driver of consumption. They were the engine of economic growth. So if you weaken the purchasing power of that center, you create this strange paradox for the entire economy. But now the story is changing again. A completely new wave of automation has arrived, and this time, it's looking at a very different set of routines. So if that first era was all about automating the routines of the hand, physical processes, simple data entry. This new era, the one powered by AI, is all about automating the routines of the mind. It's learning how to perform the routines of white-collar work, things like analysis, communication, even some creative tasks.
What's more, the tools for this new wave are incredibly concentrated. The vast majority of the super specialized hardware you need to train these advanced AI models, it's pretty much all produced by a single company. And what that means is that the very infrastructure of this new economy is being built and controlled by a tiny handful of players.
And here's the thing, AI isn't just becoming a worker, it's becoming a manager. We now have algorithms that are used to hire people, to monitor their productivity in real time, down to the keystroke, and even to make decisions about who gets laid off. So management itself, which we always thought of as this deeply human, abstract process, it's now being broken down into a series of routines that can be automated. So where does all of this leave us? Well, the future isn't some fixed destination we're heading towards. It's more like a system that is quietly and continually assembling itself all around us. I mean, the gains in productivity are just undeniable. We can create more value more efficiently than at any point in history. And that's always been the promise of technology, right? But the question that's now coming into focus, this quiet paradox at the very heart of our system, it's not really about production anymore. It's about distribution. As automation keeps getting better and better, a really fundamental question comes into focus. If a machine, or a whole system of machines, can generate immense economic value with very little or even no human labor, who gets to have a claim on that value? How does the wealth that the machine creates find its way back to the people who are supposed to be its ultimate consumers? The answer to that, well, it isn't a technical problem. It's the story that we're all writing right now.